Bartholomew Town is brought to you in part by the University of Rhode Island Online, Navigant Credit Union, the Audubon Society of Rhode Island, Newport Film, and Half Street Group.
Bartholomew Town.
Are you looking to advance in your career or explore a new field? The University of Rhode Island now offers a comprehensive portfolio of fully online programs designed to bring world-class education to you anytime, anywhere. Choose from a wide range of flexible, asynchronous programs in business and leadership, data, tech and STEM, healthcare and pharmacy, marine and environmental science, and more. With expert faculty and innovative courses, you'll gain the skills and knowledge to thrive in today's competitive world. Are you ready to take the next step? Visit uri.edu/online and discover how URI Online can help you achieve your goals. URI Online, learn anywhere with us.
Tonight, I want to speak directly to my fellow Rhode Islanders who share a love for our state, a deep pride in their communities, and a passion for making Rhode Island better every single day.
That, of course, Governor McKee, the State of the State address last night. I was there on press row in the House chambers as the governor really tried to use the speech as an opportunity to sell some of his accomplishments and really tug on the heartstrings of Rhode Islanders when it comes to those things about the state that we love and those things that are trending in the right direction. And there are definitely things that you can point to and say, hey, wait a second, we are moving forward in some areas. Just take a look at our infrastructure performance. I know that seems outrageous when you consider the Washington Bridge, but overall infrastructure, taking a look at some of the super sectors like the blue economy, no doubt about it. We are becoming a not only national, but I think global leader in that super sector. Life sciences, you've got the life science hub happening. Overall jobs numbers trending in certain areas, in certain contexts, in a positive direction. Our sort of standing, if you will, when it comes to certain social issues, best in the nation in a lot of categories in that regard. And I think overall, when you appeal to the beauty of the state of Rhode Island, some of the magic, right? There's a lot to celebrate there. And that was, in sum, what Governor McKee brought to the table last night. He also used the opportunity to highlight some of the athletic accomplishments of local teams like the URI football team and the Rhode Island FC, the minor league soccer team, celebrating those coaches, as well as the Cranston Little League softball team. Look, when it comes to the minor league soccer team, I'm not sure that, or even URI football, I'm not sure that many Rhode Islanders would put that into any sort of top tier bucket of what they're proud of the state for, what they're proud about the state on a national or global scale. But the governor really came to the table last night, stepped up to the rostrum and delivered a speech that in his mind reflected a whole heck of a lot of accomplishments in moving Rhode Island forward. And as I just outlined there in those opening remarks, there are certainly plenty of things that you can point to and you can say, yeah, that's a box we can check. That's an arena. That's a sector. That's even just an attitude, right, that is heading in the right direction. Now, you certainly can also take a second to go, wait a minute. What about Hasbro? What about the Washington Bridge? What about the big picture issues like the unhoused crisis? How about the cyber attack? There are plenty of things you can immediately contrast the governor's remarks with in terms of what he identifies as victories. And other people are going to say, nope, not enough. Now, the governor did outline a couple of very specific things. He's going to put an assault weapons ban into this year's budget. Speaker Shekarchi says he's not going to go for that. In a conversation with reporters afterwards, after the speech, he says that's not going to happen. So, look, it's going to be an interesting budget. We know that because of a reduction in federal funds in the post-COVID era. We know that because of really just a difficult economic environment and a political environment right now where the governor even admitted and even suggested that things are changing in Washington in a couple of days, in a couple of weeks when Trump gets sworn in. But Rhode Island is going to protect the progress that it has made. That's the governor's, I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially where he stands on this issue of how to confront a GOP-dominated Washington in a deeply blue state that, albeit imperfect, has definitely made a lot of progress in certain areas. But I want to back up just a second here before offering any analysis. And really, there isn't a whole lot of analysis to offer beyond what I just put forth there. I mean, we can talk about the overall performance of the governor. I thought that, and I've noticed, and anybody who's paid attention has noticed that he's become more comfortable in these environments compared. Remember, what was it, a couple of years ago, the first one he gave, I think, where he stepped up and the microphone was off, and he's gotten a lot better at this gig, so to speak. That's a piece of analysis that, frankly, I don't think many people care about, but it is a fact, and it's something that I noticed while sitting there. But look, let's back up, and let's just take a look at the overall environment right now in Rhode Island politics, and I think in the state of Rhode Island as a whole. And to do so, we got to go back to some of the big problems in the state right now. The Washington Bridge is definitely a specifically big problem, and we may never know exactly how we got to a point where that bridge was abruptly shut down and ultimately has to be demolished. And we've seen in the ensuing now year plus what a fiasco that situation is, right? We certainly know anybody who has any contact with reality knows we not only have a housing crisis across what they say are all levels of housing, we have a homelessness crisis right now, a straight up crisis of the unhoused that for whatever reason, you want to bicker about who's responsible for it, whether it's the coalition not coordinating beds for people the right way, whether the housing secretary is disconnected from reality, whether it's the administration, whether it's a municipal thing, private sector thing, nonprofit thing. It doesn't really matter in the big context, which is that we've got a huge problem and it's a disgrace. So prior to the state of the state yesterday, Harrison Tuttle, Black Lives Matter Political Action Committee, who will join us on the podcast next week, organized what was called the People's State of the State. Now, this was really just a demonstration, a call to action, sort of a direct action scenario where they had planned to go onto the rotunda of the State House, right in the middle, right under the dome, right in between the two chambers, the Senate and House chamber. And then we're going to hold a rally focused mostly on housing, focused mostly on the crisis of the unhoused and the need for immediate action. And so this event was planned. It was pushed out there. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, sometime in the afternoon, I start getting images that the rotunda itself was roped off with signage, with paper clips or whatever, those binder clips attached to them, with the Rhode Island Capitol Police insignia on it, saying that the area was closed. In other words, a public event, okay, the state of the state, a public event, a public part of the State House, where a known protest or demonstration or counter event prior to the actual state of the state was scheduled to take place, directly confronting the situation, particularly with the unhoused, but broadly speaking, the attitudes of the people of the state of Rhode Island, which anybody who talks to anybody outside of the upper middle class, and even there, they're stretched. But you know that while jobs numbers may be trending in the right direction, real salaries and cost of living, they're not. When you talk to anybody who's trying to find housing right now, good luck. Overall, there's an attitude in this state of Rhode Island among the people that we are not in a good place and we have to turn it around. And so this event prior to the state of the state, the people's state of the state, was in many ways just trying to offer a reflection, a mirror, a gigantic mirror the size of the state of Rhode Island, that was going to float in space and push some of that energy back down into the so-called temple that the state house is. And that was the intention there. And then you find out in the afternoon, just a couple hours before this event is supposed to take place, that in one of the all-time chess moves, that area had been closed off. Why was it closed off? Well, come to find out, after I called around, I called the Capitol Police, I called all kinds of offices, all kinds of people, the General Assembly, you name it. I tried to figure out who ordered this. And what actually happened was the governor's office, they're the ones who closed it. They actually went ahead and booked it. I guess you have to book that area, or you can book it. The Black Lives Matter Political Action Committee didn't book it. They were just going to do a pop-up. So, okay, checkmate. they were able to blockade anybody from going onto that into the rotunda. So the protest, the people's state of the state, it continued in the bell room, which is this tiny little area that's not even a room. It's the side of the State House entry area opposite of the metal detectors, if you're familiar with the layout. Okay, and I popped by there, and you heard, I don't know, I mean, speech after speech, and you saw people that were, yes, in the political circles. You got some elected officials, some people who are political adjacent. You saw activists and advocates, and you saw a lot of regular, ordinary Rhode Islanders that have zero connection to government other than that they need government to understand that right now they need help in a way that government was designed to help them. I'm not talking about, some people are rolling their eyes right now. Oh, what do you want to have checks cut? No, we want the functionality of government to step up to the plate and get the job done of delivering those services and providing an economic opportunity, an educational opportunity, a broad stroke opportunity for everybody to have a reasonable chance at enjoying, at reaping the benefits of those things that in just a few moments after the people's state of the state, the governor began to outline. But they roped it off. And now you've got a situation where instead of this protest taking place prior to the State House, and again, if I'm governor, all right, if I'm ever governor and some event like that's taking place, I'm there at the event. I'm taking the heat. I'm listening directly to people prior to, I want to walk into the chambers, and I don't care if I'm flustered. I don't care if the ceremonial nature of the tradition of the state of the state gets, tipped upside down. Hey, you got a group of people gathering that care enough to take their time to come to the State House and offer their reflections on their lived experience. There's no political agenda here. Nobody's running for office. Nobody's looking for any funding or anything like that. It's just a genuine reflection of attitudes of people in the state of Rhode Island, which is not exclusive to the unhoused. It's not exclusive to those living below the poverty line. It's not exclusive to those without a college degree. It's not exclusive to those, it's across the board. And yes, there are plenty of people who are in Rhode Island right now who are gainfully employed or have a business opportunity or whatever other situation that they're doing extremely well. That's for sure. That's true. That's not to say that everybody is struggling. But there's a huge disconnect right now that I just can't seem to figure out. It's reflected in the unhoused situation. It's reflected broadly in how government seems to be willing to respond to the hurt that's out there. And people are hurting. You didn't figure that out during the Trump win? Why do you think Trump got in? I mean, yeah, the Democrat ticket was awful. They didn't pull on any heartstrings. But it's because people in this country are hurting. And government needs to be almost in the therapy lane at this point more than anything else. So you got this event, Tuttle organizes it, and they get pushed out because they get blockaded from the rotunda. So now they're out there on the bell room. Meanwhile, you find out that through some level of confusion, the state of the state address inside the chambers, they're not going to let TV cameras in there. Now, it's again a little bit overblown. Capitol TV, the state sanctions, basically, it's literally state television. They're going to carry the event, and they're going to put it on TV, and they're going to put it on the web, and they're going to have the dissemination of the video available to reporters in a pool reporter capacity. Fine. But what you lose is a camera from a Channel 10 or a Channel 12 or a Channel 6 or Rhode Island PBS or whoever else being in there and getting video of the Senate president. Bless the guy. I feel terrible for him. I mean, it actually breaks my heart to see him up there, but falling asleep, seeming to fall asleep anyway during the speech. And Tim White, Channel 12, points out, what happens if you get a state senator that stands up and protests and turns his back on McKee while he's giving the speech, or some kind of disruptor enters the room? Can you count on state television to turn their camera around and film that whereas a Channel 10 or a Channel 12 would. Now, here's the thing. Everybody's got a smartphone, including me. So if anything's going on like that, for the most part, you're going to get somebody to capture it. But that's different than a photojournalist whose sole purpose in that room isn't to cover it, isn't to gather information on a policy level, isn't to gather information and put it out on social media and Twitter or something like that. Their job is to capture the moment. And you can only do so much from press row. I'm saying I took some photos, you do what you do. But for the most part, that's not the role of anybody other than the photojournalist, the video journalist in particular, and the power of the camera. For that to be dismissed, I don't care what confusion, what staff changeover they're telling us that some kind of staff changeover caused this, doesn't matter. That should have been reversed on the spot as soon as there was a realization that for some reason the mainstream television stations and frankly, the independents as well, because Alquist, Pat Ford, whoever else, they should be allowed to be in there with their phones or whatever other pieces of equipment in a video journalist capacity. So now you all of a sudden have this situation where the protesters are pushed into, the corner of the State House. You don't have any independent film taking place inside the event. And you can hear from inside the chambers as McKee's speech is happening. You can hear loud and clear outside people marching through the State House and the protests, their chants, their voices carrying into the chambers. And the security detail, they're trying to close the doors to make it look or make it a little bit less obvious. McKee acknowledged it at one point because he didn't get a big applause for something, but the protesters' voices were louder than the cheer in the room. So he's trying to hype up the crowd by raising his hands in the air. And you're sitting there thinking, geez, this is a smart guy. This is a compassionate guy. This is a guy who I've known now in politics for, the better part of a decade, it seems. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know who is in the room with him telling him that this is the right strategy. This is the worst strategy he could take. I would have let those protesters, as many of them into the State House, the House of Representatives chambers for that event. I would have put them in there and say, hey, give us your feedback in real time. Disruption is good and can move government in the right direction. I asked Speaker Shekarchi about this after the speech. Here's what he had to say.
What do you think about the idea that, when it comes to cameras and roping off the rotunda, do you feel like there's a division between the people of the state right now and their government? That seems to be their impression.
I wouldn't do it because I think it breeds mistrust among the media and the advocates. I am very transparent. I try to run the House transparent. We had a caucus last week. Every caucus we had is open to the public. Anytime we're electing a member or even have a discussion, we open the caucuses up. I try to be transparent. I think it's important for the people to build confidence in my leadership and the way I run the House. Everyone runs things differently. I will only comment on how I run it. I'm very proud of how Leader Blazajewski and I run the House.
So the bottom line is that you can walk and chew gum at the same time, and somebody needs to make Governor McKee understand this. You got to be able to engage with the people and engage in a way that is authentic, not that seems authentic, that is authentic. Now, I know there's meetings that happen behind the scenes. I know McKee cares. I know he has a vision that is for the state of Rhode Island. I think offers a lot. And this is just one of those moments where you say, he's been battling certain media outlets for well over a year since the bridge. Go back to even before the bridge. You go to the election. You had media outlets that basically looked like they were they were on the payroll for Helena Bonanno folks. And he's been battling. And he's been battling advocate groups. And it's like when you expend energy, when you're if you get trapped in a riptide, let's say you're out on Narragansett Town Beach, and you get pulled out in a riptide. What are you supposed to do? You're not supposed to fight against the riptide. You're supposed to swim parallel to the shore until such time that somebody rescues you or you have an opportunity to swim in. McKee is in a riptide and he's swimming against the current. You will not win that battle. And I just don't understand why last night, when you have a convergence of really two different attitudes about the state of Rhode Island, both can't live together. I mean, the governor, and again, it's great. Yes, URI football, that's fantastic. I mean, they got 11 wins. They made it to the playoffs for the first time since 1985. Jim Fleming, they brought him in, from Florida? He awesome. Fantastic. The minor league soccer team, you know how I feel about that. I mean, they want to celebrate that. They made the Eastern Conference Finals as an expansion team. I mean, expansion teams, take a look at the Las Vegas Knights in the NHL. Remember the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers in the late 90s and their performance, even in the early 2000s with expansion teams in football. Expansion teams have an advantage, but whatever. Great. Rhode Island got to play on CBS television at noon in a league that no one even knew what it was, somewhere between American Gladiator and a bowling competition. They stuck that thing probably in between college football, regular season and playoffs. But you highlight that, and you don't. You need to understand that people are hurting, and nobody has any time to think about it. I mean, other than a couple of thousand people that are diehards, and great. I mean, I'm a diehard about a lot of things. You think I'm going to get up there and I'll give you something about the indie rock scene in Rhode Island, but I'm not going to make it a big part of the speech. So I think there's a huge disconnect here. And last night was it became difficult to sit there and say, during last night's event, as you realize what's happening outside and you realize what's happening inside the chambers, it became more difficult for me to process, and I just don't understand it. I thought I was going to do this podcast last night, so let me sleep on it. Let me get a little bit of coffee in my system and have a banana and try to get hydrated and do this, because maybe I'll understand what happened there. All I can think of is there's somebody in the room with McKee that's telling him that this is the right approach to take. I'm telling you, it isn't. It's not. I'm not even talking about electoral politics. This isn't about, if the governor continues to do this, he's not going to win the 2026 race. Well, I mean, he's sitting right there next to the guy who's going to be his number one challenger during the event. It's going to be Shikarchi.
Bartholomew Town.
Birds are disappearing from our landscape at a rapid pace. Over 1/3 of those breeding on Audubon Society of Rhode Island's wildlife refuges are in decline. Climate change has taken a toll on their migration, nesting, and food sources. While science is highlighting the problem, Audubon is working on real solutions with a plan to rapidly reduce their carbon emissions. The organization will be free of fossil fuels by 2030, with renewable energy powering Audubon's buildings, equipment, and vehicles. To shape our future, all of us must act. Learn more about repowering Audubon, their avian research, and how you can join their fight for climate resiliency. Visit asri.org/repower. Newport Film screens the latest, critically acclaimed documentary films year-round across Rhode Island. Like a film festival, Newport Film often gets early access to films before they're available online or in the theaters. Stay up to date on their latest screening events at newportfilm.com or on Instagram @NewportFilm. Are you looking to advance in your career or explore a new field? The University of Rhode Island now offers a comprehensive portfolio of fully online programs designed to bring world-class education to you anytime, anywhere. Choose from a wide range of flexible, asynchronous programs in business and leadership, data, tech, and STEM, healthcare and pharmacy, marine and environmental science, and more. With expert faculty and innovative courses, you'll gain the skills and knowledge to thrive in today's competitive world. Are you ready to take the next step? Visit uri.edu/online and discover how URI Online can help you achieve your goals. URI Online, learn anywhere with us. Half Street Group brings a new generation's perspective to leadership communication, strategic public relations, and digital marketing. Half Street helps organizations and leaders take control of their own stories and manage their reputations. They get results for their clients by focusing on audience message and culture, and by leveraging their decade-long relationship with media and opinion leaders in the Ocean State and throughout New England. Join me and Half Street Group founder and president Mike Rea for a conversation every month about news of the day, the hottest media analysis, and a look behind the scenes at how impactful leaders drive conversations. Learn more at halfstreetgroup.com. As Rhode Island's first ever member-owned credit union, Navigant Credit Union has been a staple in the local business community for more than 108 years. Today, Navigant is a $3.4 billion institution serving more than 136,000 members across 25 physical branch locations. But since its founding in 1915, the mission has never changed. Navigant Credit Union's team of financial professionals have remained committed to improving the financial well-being of the families, businesses, and communities they serve across Rhode Island. Learn more at navigantcu.org. But you're sitting there thinking, geez, this is about right now. I mean, it wasn't a bad state of the state. Like I said, there are a lot of things we should be proud of and highlighting in Rhode Island. And naturally, politics and talk audio and even honestly journalism itself, because of the profitability of negative news and the profitability of controversy versus, imagine if the news was just like, here's a bunch of good things that happened today. And here's some good news that's, that's it. I mean, that would not be as profitable as coming up at 6 o'clock with, Valicenti or Monte Calvo. They're going to tell you about, this person, how they made a mistake, how this person, they screwed up, how this person acted badly or misbehaved. I mean, that's what makes the money. So it's an environment, again, you're swimming against the current. And you've got so much to celebrate when it comes to some of these new economic development projects. Talk about Warren and Bristol. You can talk about Warren as well. Talk about some of the stuff happening in the Innovation District, Broadway and Newport, Wilcox Parks and the surrounding area in downtown Westerly. We can go through so much. And he did highlight some leaders in the blue economy sector, and that's great. I mean, I'm not like Mr. Blue Economy. I know I talk about it a lot. I'm not going to start an underwater drone company. It's not my thing. I just recognize, geez, we are uniquely situated for an opportunity in this space. So yeah, we should be drilling down on that. And he did, and that's great. And again, tugging on the heartstrings of Rhode Islanders, because we do need to turn the narrative around. Remember the whole this state, oh God, this state. But I think that last night can be a turning point for the McKee administration to say, you know what, we need buy-in from those people who are outside, from those people who are involved in the people's state of the state. We need them more than we maybe need a lot of the people that were in the chamber. And again, it's not about votes. It's not about politics. It's about executing the functions of government in a way that is actually effective for people, that they once again believe that we are all in this together. And I know that sounds like, cue the Disney, It's a Small World After All, and, la-di-da, but it's possible. I don't know why the whole speech last night, we had such little attention, and there were some announcements on first-time homebuyers. Yes, there were some announcements on funding for the unhoused. But I would have focused the whole speech out of the gate on that. I would have been like, hey, you hear those people outside right now? I do. And I know they're hurting, and it makes me hurt too. And we got to figure out how we're going to turn this around. And that's why tomorrow morning I'm calling a summit, a meeting, whatever, with the leaders of that protest group, with the activist groups, with the advocacy groups, with the nonprofits, with the presidents of the university, colleges and universities. I mean, every stakeholder in this state right now should recognize that we are in a pivotal moment. Not politically, maybe not broadly, maybe not macroeconomically, because there are positive things happening. But we are at a pivotal moment of disconnection. That gap has to be closed. We're all bound by a love of the area for a number of different reasons. It may be because of the layout. It may be because of the environment itself. And it may be because of our roots here, our family here, our employment here, or our work here otherwise. It may be because it's proximate to Boston or New York. But there's something, a thread that ties us all together. That needs to be the centerpiece of discussion and action in politics in Rhode Island right now until it is healed. When you go through something traumatic in your life, you can't ignore the fact that you must heal. You must do the work. The therapies, and I use that plural intentionally. You need to change your diet. You need to think about movement and exercise. You need to think about reflection. Maybe that's journaling. Maybe that's, creating something from an artistic standpoint. Maybe that's exploring nature. Maybe that's traveling a bit. Maybe that's just unpacking. We need to unpack a traumatic environment in the state of Rhode Island right now. People are hurting. We should not be in a situation where the attitudes of Rhode Islanders right now is as dismal as they are. We do have a lot to offer. We do have a lot going for us. And we do have a lot of things that Governor McKee himself has steered us in the right direction for. He highlighted educational victories like at the Melville School, where you got a class that had 100% or a perfect score in math. A class, one teacher in one class got a perfect score in math on, I guess it would be the what do you call it? The standardized test, whatever they call them, RICAS. A couple other examples of where attendance in school creates strong outcomes. This is all true, and this is McKee's work. Nobody can focus on that right now. Nobody can get into the headspace to celebrate it because there are so many people hurting. Why is this not front and center? We're not making it up. People aren't making this up. There's no reason to. There's no reason to sit there. Now, maybe for some people, you see Helena Bonanno folks doing this, and well, guess what? This is for politics. Or doing this as in showing up at shelters and all this, that, and the other. This is a political strategy, a juxtaposition of sorts, playing into what appears to be an Achilles heel for the McKee political operation. Forget politics. Take it out of the equation. We need a budget, and we'll see it Thursday night, Friday morning, but we need a budget that allocates funding to help people in Rhode Island. Now, that means, a lot of different things. You need economic development in super sectors. I mean, Hasbro, I don't know what's going on with Hasbro. I thought it was pretty clear that they were leaving, but he kind of McKee dropped a note last night in the speech that, Hasbro knows we've got great talent and maybe they're reconsidering. It's almost like we got to pull the Band-Aid off. And Hasbro alone isn't going to save us. It could send, as I've argued, it could send a tone that in addition to blue economy, in addition to life sciences, we have an opportunity in Rhode Island to create and deliver a dynamic new media economy that encompasses everything from our art scene And I'm not talking about the gimmick art scene, creative capital nonsense that means nothing when professional artists writ large are leaving Rhode Island. People are graduating from one of the top 3 art schools in the world and leaving here almost exclusively, leaving here immediately. We need to be able to harness the talent that we have and provide pathways to opportunity that are immediate, and they're there. Now, I'm not going to give you a policy paper right now. Someday I will. I just know because I'm out there. I'm there. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling the breakdown. I see it. And that doesn't mean that everybody's walking around with their head down all the time. There's a lot of good things happening on my street, in the park, in my loft. We're doing open mic on Monday nights. Come on down. Send me a message, bill@ripodcast.com. You want to come play a song? You want to come give a speech? You want to do some comedy? Give some spoken word? Hang out? You don't want to even get up there and just want to be around community? Please come. We just started it 2 weeks ago. It's magical. I mean, life is good, right? And Rhode Island is good. It makes me sad to see a disconnection like we saw last night. And I mean, the media thing, there was still media. I got a couple of people messaged me this morning. They saw that I posted a photo of myself inside the chambers, and they were like, oh, I thought McKee didn't allow the media. Yeah, McKee allowed the media in there. I mean, that would have been completely, I mean, I can't even imagine if they didn't allow reporters at all inside the room. They just didn't allow big broadcast cameras. They should have. But what happens is these narratives get out of control, right? And the narrative from last night is McKee tried to stop a protest from taking place, forced him into a corner, didn't allow broadcast cameras in, and people take that as he's trying to shut down protesters. He's got cops everywhere. He doesn't want the media inside the state of the state. And he's talking about the minor league soccer coach that, again, a couple of thousand people love it. Another 10 to 20,000 people are interested in it. Pawtucket loves it because, as I've told you, don't forget, in order to save Pawtucket, the only way you could do it is you build a minor league soccer stadium at taxpayer expense and hope that the ensuing economic development, along with two dozen maximum home games per year, turn a city that has been in decline since the Industrial Revolution around and sets it on a trajectory to become one of the best cities in the world. I mean, that's what Tidewater Landing is. That's what the soccer team is. And I like it. I've refereed in that league. I've never been to a game. I haven't watched a second of it on television or listened to it on the radio. But I'm glad it's there. I think soccer's amazing. I think soccer's an amazing community connection. I hope they succeed. I hope Tidewater's the best stadium project ever. I hope Pawtucket becomes the biggest city in America, north, south, central, becomes the new city on the hill. But let's be honest about what's happening here, folks. You've got a peer group in charge of the state of Rhode Island right now that, while good people, don't think they're bad people either. McKee's a good person. I know the guy. I know people in his family. I know people who are very close to him. I'm certain that you will not find a guy with a soul bigger than Dan McKee. And although among the weakest orders of any high elected official that I've ever seen, he could play into that. And it would be appealing. And in fact, I think that's how he's had the success that he's had, losing only one election in a near 30-year career. Nearly 25 years ago, he lost a Cumberland mayor race one time. The guy's a winner. I just know. I don't think. I know. Do you know? Am I the only one? Can't be. I know that there's a way for Rhode Islanders right now to sit there and watch a State of the State address and say, geez, I'm so proud of this state and the accomplishments we've made. And right now, that is not the attitude. And it's sad. It's sad. We need to focus inwards. Even if you are a Trump supporter and you love what's happening with Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard and Elon Musk and all these characters, even if you love it, there's never been a moment that I can think of in my life, in the history I've studied, where we need to be inward in ourselves. We need to understand ourselves, seek inner peace as much as we can, joy, peace, focus, strength. And the same needs to be applied to our communities, neighborhoods, municipalities, states, maybe regions. I just want to see this period end. We're in our backyard, in our home, our beautiful, beautiful home. We've got government going one way, and we've got the attitude of the people going in another way. Eventually they might converge, or, depending on how you map the universe, they might go in different directions eternally. But because of the fact that right now, on a practical basis, we are not that far apart. It seems like we are infinitely apart. I sit in the middle. I can see both sides of this equation. I am with you if you were at the People's State of the State last night. I am with you if you are hurting. I am with you if you are somebody who has $5. I understand that experience. I've squatted. I've paid for things with quarters for years on end. I struggle in different ways in my life. I also see where government is having big victories, where they're having, in Rhode Island government is having real victories, is really making progress. But we know healthcare, housing, particularly the focus on the unhoused right now. We should not be in a scenario where people are sleeping outside if they don't want to, period. That's the focus of the people. And that's why the People's State of the State last night was so critical. And that's why I wish the governor and the governor's team took a different approach to this whole thing. He's a good person. Somebody around him who has no sensibility is getting in his head, and they're making decisions, never mind politically dangerous, that are actually dangerous for the state of Rhode Island. He has an opportunity now to turn that around. Last night should be the end of this period of disconnection, and it should be a moment for reflection to say, hey, let's bring it. You want to do Team Rhode Island? Let's bring it in. And you don't always have to love everybody that's on your team. You don't always have to love everybody that you're competing towards a common goal with. You don't have to like them. But you have to recognize what they bring to the table and harness that power. Joe Shekarchi is going to run for governor. Folks is as well. I don't think Nerona will. Who's going to be the people's representative in all of that? Maybe it's somebody that comes from an environment like the People's State of the State last night. But it's also possible that McKee or Shekarchi can honor that mantle and be that person. If I run for governor someday, it will be on the exclusive notion of trying to bridge all of the different perspectives in this state. Not to say, hey, everybody come together and let's have one big happy family. No, we need a hive mind that reflects the needs of the people and the capabilities of the state. And I hope that that's what we get heretofore after last night. Steve Alquist tomorrow, Harrison Tuttle next week, Governor McKee, all ahead here on Bartholomew Town. And I thank you all for being a part of this broadcast today. And I thank you all for being here whenever you are. Also want to thank Navigant Credit Union. As Rhode Island's first ever member-owned credit union, Navigant Credit Union has been a staple in the local business community for more than 108 years. Today, Navigant is a $3.4 billion institution serving more than 136,000 members across 25 physical branch locations. But since its founding in 1915, the mission has never changed. Navigant Credit Union's team of financial professionals have remained committed to improving the financial well-being of the families, businesses, and communities they serve across Rhode Island. Learn more at navigantcu.org. Hey, thanks for stopping by Bartholomew Town. For more content, follow me on Instagram at Bill Bartholomew.